Hi everyone, it's Grace. Welcome or welcome back. Maybe, should I wear my glasses? I don't know. I filmed a video in like this, oh, that's not happening. Sorry, that looked really bad. I filmed a video in this exact same spot. It was my video about how the internet doesn't matter. And it's kind of toxic because I'm obsessed with now filming here because I can lay in my bed and I can just talk. However, the angle is very bad. I was just rewatching that video before it goes up this weekend, and because I'm ahead of myself with filming, and I was like, oh, I do not look flattering here. But part of what I, talk about and what I preach basically is angles don't matter, no one looks beautiful all the time. And I know it's super helpful for me when I see someone who is not afraid to like look bad or look ugly. And it's not ugly, just like being at a different angle. But the people who actually value you will not care. And I honestly think it's super humanizing when I see someone who isn't worried about that. You know what I mean? Someone who doesn't care if someone takes a photo and it's a bad angle. Someone who doesn't care if people see that they have like unflattering angles. Because it ultimately just doesn't really matter. But it is a mental thing of me having to be like, okay, I'm gonna still upload this even though I don't think I look good because of my principles. And I just have to believe that there's some benefit and someone out there who will maybe be helped by me talking about that. I will say something happened like right before I started filming. So I had something with chili peppers in it for dinner. I don't know if I don't know what happened, but as I was walking over here with my camera, I was like, long story short, it's in my nose. I don't know how it's in my nose. It was making me sneeze. I still feel it. The ghost of a chili pepper is in my nose right now, and it's dying to get out. But, I can't be everything for everyone, so it's just gonna have to be that way. But what I wanted to talk about today is Mama had a tough day. No, let me not characterize the whole day based on a few moments, okay? So if you've been watching my videos or have been anywhere within a 5-mile radius of me for the last few weeks, you may have heard that I have mono. And I am getting cabin fever. I can't do anything. I can't exercise because I could rupture my spleen. When I hang out with people, like even if we're just sitting and talking, it wipes me out for like a day. I'm in pain. It's been, at this point, 3.5 weeks. I filmed 2 videos today. So this is my 3rd video that I'm filming today. But that's the other thing though. I've been a content creation queen because what else am I gonna do? But I've been having a lot of fun. However, today I did have my first excursion. I went to Target I was probably there for like 30 minutes. And that was good. I got to walk around a bit, and I was having a perfect, wonderful day until I was in the middle of editing one of my videos, and then I was like, oh my god, the caffeine is really hitting me, and I didn't even have that much today. I had a small energy drink, and which is 8 ounces, and I had a small cold brew. And I don't know what's happening. I'm way more sensitive to caffeine now. I don't know what shifted. Maybe it's the fact that I don't do anything all day, so it's not like burning out of my system through like activity. I don't know if that's how caffeine even works. Like if it leaves your system like that. But anyway, I was editing that video and I stood up and I was like, okay, I need to eat something right now or I'm gonna have a panic attack. Which is weird because I had already had 2 meals and it was before lunchtime. So I'm like, it's not that much caffeine. I have food and water in my system, like more food in my system than I normally would by this time of day. So I was eating my lunch, which is called double bagel, which is when you have 2 bagels. I love it. So I was doing Double Bagel and I was finishing reading an article on my iPad on Substack, which I know everyone's probably like, shut up about Substack, shut up about Substack. We hate you. Shut up. No, I love Substack. I don't care who knows it. Which is very obvious because why does that keep happening? This happened earlier today too. My foot just started cramping earlier today. My thighs started cramping, like out of nowhere. And if you've ever had like an arch cramp, like in the arch of your foot, oh, whoa, Nelly. Whoa, girl, easy, girl. It's so awful. Anyway, so I'm reading my article, and it's a pretty heavy article. It was about, I'll link it in the description. It's a longer article. Substack estimates it as a 44-minute read. So I've been reading over the course of yesterday and today, just in little snippets, because it's so heavy. It's so pertinent, and it's about kind of like the sexual landscape right now that teaches women that doing things that might not feel fully like what they want to do, like that sex is empowering all the time, and like if you're an empowered woman, you have sex. It was written by someone who's 24 and still hasn't had sex yet, and kind of her experience going through college and like what she witnessed in the sexual relationships and experiences of everyone around her. And it was super beautiful. I mean, I struggle to recommend it to people who are teenagers because it is really heavy and it's scary, because the world is scary when it comes to young women, and how they view sex versus how a lot of men view sex, which is like, you know, anyway, that's a whole other topic. So I'm reading this article. I start getting so anxious, but it was something that I'm 23 now. I had sex for the first time when I was 18, like my first week of college, with someone who didn't care about me at all, but I was told by people around me, like, oh, college is time to play the field, like, you should be having sex with as many people as possible, or having guys be like, oh, maybe I'd be open to something serious in the future, let's just see where it goes, knowing full well the whole time that all they want is sex and that they're never gonna want a relationship, and so they kind of lead you on. Whatever, that's a whole other topic. But I wish that I had had something like that to read when I was that age, because I think it would have saved me so much heartbreak and so much agony, really. Like, I really struggled with sex. I don't like talk about it a lot because it's obviously a pretty heavy and also taboo topic, but it's an amazing article, so I'm gonna put it in the description. Anyway, I'm reading this article and then I'm like, I'm getting really anxious, I'm getting really anxious, I'm getting really anxious, and I try to brush it off. I try to use my little OCD tools of being like, maybe not. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not, maybe this anxiety is rational, maybe it isn't, and just trying not to feed it by like ruminating on it and trying to answer the questions that are coming up in my brain, which I don't know if this will make sense if you don't have OCD, but you constantly feel like you need to check something, and so you have to condition yourself to not answer the questions that are coming up, because when you do, that's feeding the compulsive cycle. I was feeling pretty bad about it, and then I was like, fuck, I need to talk to someone, and I totally unloaded on my boyfriend, and I felt so bad about it afterward, because by and large, I've been doing really well mentally, but I do think the last few weeks with pretty much nothing to do except lay in my bed or sit in my chair, and also having a ton of screen time, because even though I'm not on social media a ton, I'm filming videos, I'm editing videos on my computer, I'm writing articles on my computer, I'm reading on Substack. Like, I just feel very wired. And something I want to make clear is my boyfriend didn't make me feel bad about it at all. He is so wonderful, so patient with me, but it just feels bad when you do something that you know is not skillful. You do, like I did, the compulsive thing was telling him that I was scared and like ruminating on it and explaining everything that I was worried about, because if you don't have OCD, this might not make sense, but talking about your problems, like talking about the content of your obsessions, is adding gasoline to the fire of your obsession. Because so you have an obsession, it's like a cycle. If you have an obsession, then you feel really anxious, and so you act on a compulsion because it relieves the anxiety, and then you don't feel anxious anymore. But because you taught your brain that to respond to the anxiety you have to do the compulsion, it feeds the cycle of you then doing the same compulsion over and over and over again, because you've trained your brain that that's how you respond to anxiety. And then that's how you get people checking over and over and over again. Did I lock the door? Did I lock the door? Did I lock the door? Is the oven on? Is the oven on? Is the oven on? Have I washed my hands enough? Have I washed my hands enough? Have I washed my hands enough? So a little tidbit about OCD for you. Thank me later. Anyway, I just felt so bad about it, and I knew I did the compulsive thing, and it wasn't skillful, and I knew it's only gonna set me back because it's gonna train my brain, which I've worked so hard to train it, that I can tolerate anxiety and that I don't have to do compulsions, because eventually the fear will pass and I'll be okay. But I just felt so bad about it. And I felt really guilty because I don't want to put other people through that, of having to deal with my problems. And I know that, like, the people who love you are there for you through everything, and no one has made me feel burdensome about it, least of all my boyfriend. And I have really wonderful people in my life, but still, I felt bad about it. And because it wasn't just being like, oh, I'm stressed out. It was like long text messages like, oh, I'm freaking out about this. I just want to blah, 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 blah. And the whole time I'm making it worse for myself. And I'm just like dumping emotional stuff on someone who didn't, you know, see it coming. And so then that person's gonna open their messages and see that they have a bunch of texts from you, and you're like panicking, and that's not fun to receive, you know, like whatever. I was just feeling really guilty about it. But you know what I did? I said, I'm gonna finish editing this video, I am going to take a hot shower, and I'm going to wash my hair, and I'm going to clean myself and feel renewed, and I'm gonna put on my moisturizer, and I'm gonna do my skincare. I'm gonna do things that make me feel like a person. And then I just got in my bed and I took a nap. And sometimes that's not the way to go, and oftentimes when you struggle with anxiety or OCD or depression, sometimes like staying in your bed can make it even like just worse, because you are like escaping from having to deal with your emotions by sleeping. But I was so tired, and I didn't sleep well last night, and I have mono, and I needed a rest. I was like, I just need to not look at my phone for a while. And I slept. And then I got up, I ate dinner, got back in bed, and I was like, I'm going to bed early tonight, which I still hope to do, because what time is it? It's 8:20. And so I just want to say, sometimes we're gonna have days that we backslide. And some days we're gonna not respond in the most skillful way to the things that make us anxious, or the things that make us feel depressed, or the things that make us feel insecure, or the things that make us want to, you know, do some sort of destructive behavior. And it's just part of it. And I know I talked about this in my video about having a bulimia relapse about a while ago, but it's really tough, and my heart goes out to anyone who deals with it. But I just want you to know that, like, even people who are so open about what they go through, and people who have come really far, because the way I feel now is night and day compared to how I felt from ages 14 through 22, and I'm 23. For that amount of time, which is 8 years, I was nonstop in fight or flight, and that is traumatic, to constantly be on edge and constantly have, you know, the mental illness voice being like, something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong, you need to solve this, you need to solve this, you need to solve this, you're a bad person, you're a bad person, you're a bad person. It's exhausting. And I have come a really long way, and that comes from having amazing support around me, and from being able to get treatment, which is so inaccessible. And I have done a lot of exposure and response prevention. I did brain mapping, where you like hook up wires to your head, and I have been in therapy for it, and I did an intensive outpatient program in college. I had to take time off school to do that, and I am so much better. But I just want you to know, even the people who seem like they have it together, which I don't know if I seem like I have it together, but generally I do, regardless, we all still struggle sometimes. And that, can we focus? Like, what is happening? And there's nothing wrong with you if you thought you came so far and then you have you know, a day, a week, a month, whatever, where you're struggling again, because it just happens. And so know that you're not alone, and when you feel this way, sometimes you just have to be so gentle with yourself. The way I was like, okay, I feel really bad that I did that. I did the compulsive thing, I did the unskillful thing, I did the thing that's gonna make me more anxious later, which then I'm gonna have to be skillful later, and it's gonna be even harder because I wasn't skillful earlier. I just like, take a freaking shower, go for a walk, read your book, some kind of slow activity that's not on a screen, and just be so gentle with yourself. But it's really tough, and today didn't feel good, and I'm trying not to let that cloud the whole day. I think I'm coming, holy fuck. Have you ever stretched your side so hard that it feels like your organs are snapping? I don't know what just happened. Hopefully my spleen didn't rupture. Okay, so I'll worry about that later. But yeah, oh, this is really long. This is almost 20 minutes. Okay, I'll stop myself there. I just wanted to share that this is a reality of the process. This is part of it. Everyone struggles with it, and you're not alone if you do too. And just be so gentle with yourself, and try to have compassion for yourself the way you would if it was your friend. Because if my friend, or if my boyfriend, if one of my family members came to me and was like, I'm really anxious, like I'm so scared about this, I'm blah, 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 I'd be like, okay, breathe. We're gonna get through this. It's okay. You have nothing to apologize for. Because I was feeling a lot of guilt, and I was like, I'm gonna get this under control. I need to nip this in the bud. I've already reached out to my old therapist multiple times, and I wanted to show that I was doing things about it. I'm not just unloading this on you. I'm also trying to get it under control so that you don't have to go through this too with me, because I know it can take a toll on a relationship. And if you're not careful with your mental illness, it can become the third person in your relationship. Whether it's a friendship, family relationship, romantic relationship, it can take on a life of its own, and it is really hard to put out that fire. And I've been there, and I don't want to be there again. And so I think that's why I go into a bit of a panic about it. But if someone came to me like that, I'd be like, okay, you don't need to worry about any of that right now. We're just gonna get you through this little period. We're gonna get you feeling good again. We're gonna get you calmed down. We're gonna do some self-care activities. I wouldn't be mad at them. I wouldn't be disappointed in them. I would just treat them with tenderness and care, because I know how tough it is. And so try to view yourself that way as well, because I know it's really hard. Getting through it is gonna be so much easier if you have compassion for yourself and aren't beating yourself up over what's already happened. Because once you've done the compulsion, once you've done the unskillful thing, once you've, you know, whatever it is, that's in the past. There's nothing you can do about it. And I tend to have this feeling of like, oh my god, how can I make it up for you? Can I send my boyfriend a cupcake to his house? Would that be and like, whole time, he's not made me feel at all like I have anything to make up for, but I have this sense of guilt when I'm not in control of my problems. But anyway, this video is hella long, so I'm just gonna, I don't say hella, I don't know what just happened, I'm sorry. But yeah, so I'm just gonna finish filming this, and I'm gonna watch my show, and yeah, I'll catch you on the flip.